Woman spoiler talk. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, go out and see it. Come on, it's Wonder Woman. But if you haven't seen the movie, we're going to go heavy deep into spoilers. We're going to talk everything. So we don't want to ruin it for you. Just pause the video, come back after you've seen it. If not, we're going to talk to you as if you have been to the movies with us and you were there. So we're going to, discuss everything about this. So first, to start off, I love those new opening logos where you see Batman throwing the Batarang, you then see Superman, you then see Wonder Woman, you then see, was it Aquaman, and then you see, it ends on Green Lantern. Now, I got a little baby theory about that. They kind of semi-announced that Green Lantern was going to be part of the universe. Obviously, at the end, it goes off, it shows you the whole DC kind of universe as a whole, that last shot.
Yeah.
But we do end on, it bookends with the Justice League members on Green Lantern. I have a feeling that's because he's going to either be revealed in the Justice League, or he's going to be revealed in the second Justice League or his own Green Lantern. But I could see it more in the first Justice League. Chris Pine was amazing in this movie as Steve Trevor, and I'm so happy they cast him. I wish the whole movie, I was thinking, I wish he was going to be the Green Lantern. He would have been an amazing Green Lantern, being the comic relief. He would have been so perfect. But he was so perfect as Steve Trevor that I'm having which way do I go? But either way, I'm glad he was part of the DCEU, either way, but I really wish he would have been Green Lantern too. But
that would have been cool. But I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it kind of sounded like there was a hint of the original Batman theme in the when they were showing that. I don't know if it really was, but I just kind of thought about that. So
I'll have to listen
if you see
to
it again,
next
listen to just the
Is it the Danny Elfman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was an homage or not, but it just kind of sounded like that a little bit to me.
Not a bad man to homage to.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So, yeah. No, I agree. That was really cool. And I love how they're kind of doing it too, how Marvel does that kind of thing too, where they're separating from the 20th Century Marvel. So I love it. It looks great, and I hope they continue to do it with the other movies.
I think they will.
Yeah, should.
All right, so the movie pretty much starts off where we see that Wayne truck pull up, and it's that briefcase, and it's basically Bruce sending her that picture that starts off the whole thing where he's like, oh, maybe one day you'll tell me your story, and it just goes right into it. I kind of liked how they didn't really mess around in the present time. They just showed that this is what was going on, and they went straight into right into the old time.
Yeah, definitely. They could obviously started there, but I like that linear story telling that they were doing, where they started off, in present time and then go back to the past. I thought it was really well transitioned, and I love seeing Gal Gadot, or rather Diana, how she starts off on the Louvre in Paris, and then she's going, and like you mentioned, we see the Wayne Enterprises armored truck with the picture we saw. By the way, cool little thing we're gonna mention in our Easter egg. Zack Snyder's in that picture on the far left. I loved how we got that reference also too from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, because that was her whole presence in that film. She wanted to retrieve that picture so Lex could never find out who she was. Right when we get into young Diana, I love that little girl who played her. Just already got me invested. How she wants to learn and train. I'm already okay, this girl wants to be an Amazon.
She wants to fight.
Yeah,
she's
wants
tired
to be
of just
warrior.
hanging around, and they said she's the only little girl on the whole island. So it's got to be tough being the only little kid watching everyone training and fighting, and her mom obviously doesn't want her to fight, but even though she kind of has to, because she is the weapon that could kill gods.
Right, right. And also, too, I like the humor with the little girl. After she tries jumping off the cliff or landing and her mom catches, she goes, hello, mother, how are you?
Nonchalantly.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. And also, too, Connie Nielsen as Hippolyta and Robin Wright Penn really did an amazing, I think she played, I can never pronounce it right, Adiop. I never can pronounce
something like that.
Yeah, I never can pronounce it right, but Robin Wright Penn, not only is she so freaking hot, but she convinces me that she's a badass warrior. And also too, we'll get into it during the fight that they have with the Germans. I love seeing, and you've got this look from Gal Gadot and from Chris Hemsworth and Thor and Batman v Superman, the look of when they're in a fight, how happy and excited they are to get into battle.
Just enjoy the fighting.
I love seeing that on actors when it makes me believe and pulls me more into the scene, they're actually about to go through in a real battle. So it's a great job of just projecting on your face what you're about to go through. So I just really want to give her props there. And also too, to Robin Wright Penn, she's only in the movie for 30 minutes and then she dies. So at the end of the movie, I'm thinking she had a really big impact on me personally, and I'm thinking if she had that big of an impact on me,
it's a short time,
and I haven't seen her in the film in 2 hours. She did a great job. So I really thought Robin Wright Penn was amazing in this film.
And that whole action scene on the beach was just really awesome too,
for sure.
Especially when they're all flipping over the rocks and they do the first thing where she jumps off the shield and she shoots 3 arrows just at those 3 guys.
Oh yeah,
man,
felt kind of like Deadshot with the 3 bullets, kind of thing, but just in a sicker.
And the way it was shot too is just really cool, and you see where it like follows from behind the bullet, and then the girl kind of swings like right into it, and just it's a good shot.
I mentioned this in the non-spoiler review, but a lot of the action, in a good way, reminded me of a little bit of 300, Lord of the Rings, that Troy, that whole style, which is good. I like that representation because those are good action movies. So or good movies with a lot of great action in it. So I mean, I just thought how they represented the action here, how they made the Amazonian warriors, the way they move, the way they run, the way they shoot arrows, the way they jump off cliffs with the rope in their
it was shoots the bow and arrow with the rope was sick.
Like some Zelda style stuff or some Lord of the... It was just so cool and epic to see, and there's a lot of great stuff in here. And I gotta say too, Themyscira is so beautiful and gorgeous.
That blue water.
And also too, we'll get into it too in the waterfall scene and then the pool jacuzzi. Gorgeous. These sets and the scenery.
I want to hang in that jacuzzi.
Oh, me too. That's all I was thinking. Like, damn. But I want to go on that island though.
Yeah.
But going to Themyscira, they just Patty Jenkins, and I really didn't look up who the director of photography was in this film, but whoever it was, phenomenal job. I just really thought they captured, Themyscira. I felt like I was engulfed and in this island, in this godly world. So I thought they just did a real good job of capturing Themyscira. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to see some wide shots where they're kind of panning out. You're looking out into the ocean, and you see a lot of those waterfalls and big mountains and all that stuff was really cool. Some of the city too, like they didn't really go into that much in the movie, but you could kind of see it in the background. So I don't know. I'm sure it was. I don't know if they weren't like on location anywhere. I'm sure it was mostly
maybe it was blue or green screen. I don't know. I'd have to read that. But
it definitely looked great. And
either way,
I want to go there.
Well, I mean, and also Jungle Book. Like it feels like they're in the jungle and they're really in LA just shooting. Yeah. If it feels like they're really there, I'm cool with it. If they went on location, I want to know where that was. But I mean, either way, Themyscira, it just really feels like Themyscira, and you're just really engulfed and into this world. So I just thought they did a good job of capturing that feeling and that essence of this world. I gotta say, too, I love that whole sequence where Hippolyta is explaining to Diana, through, what was it, like a picture frame?
Oh, yeah, she's like, I'll tell you the story of, my time in war.
About Ares.
But yeah, I really like that way... that style where it kind of looks like moving pictures, like kind of slow motion, and it looks like it's like she's reading from that book. I just thought the way they did that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I like when movies it definitely is exposition, but it's like a cool, like she's actually telling her a story, so it's like a flashback within a flashback.
I agree with you, but I don't mind exposition when it's when it's interesting exposition and it's not making me. It's not like, hey, we have to explain everything to you. When it's that kind of exposition, I don't mind because it was an interesting story that they were telling. We mentioned a little bit earlier about that really awesome beach fight scene between the Amazonians and the Germans, and like Jason said earlier, it was awesome. But the biggest thing that happens in that fight was Adiope dies. And it's very emotional. And it's even though it happens in such a fast amount of time from when we met the character, it really is earned. And also on top of that, you really feel the impact it has on Diana that launches her throughout the rest of the film and progresses the story. So it was appropriate, it works, and again, already 30 minutes in this movie, I'm almost like tearing up. So I liked how again, Patty Jenkins, 30 minutes and had me this invested in the characters where one of them dies. I'm like, wow, that's terrible. It sucks.
Well, I mean, other than maybe her mother, she was like the most important person in her life. Her trainer, the one who's been training her whole life pretty much. So it was definitely a really deep moment for her, and she did a pretty good job of conveying that emotion, just like how sad she was.
And also, I felt too that her aunt was also someone. If she couldn't go to her mother about something, she could probably confide in her aunt.
Or even could go to more so for some things.
Yeah, maybe exactly.
Well, we mentioned too how she's kind of naive in the beginning, and this is the first real time that they've had to fight an actual battle. Like she'd never seen a human man before, so this is the first time that she's actually been in a real fight, not just in training. So she's like, it's all coming to her at once, and just it's cool to see her growing that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Seeing how she starts off fighting in the film on the beach, and then where she ends the film when she's fighting off theirs, you can see the growth and progression. They have not rushed and they've taken their time and shown you how badass she's become from where she started to where she ends. So no, I agree. I love noticing little things like that. Again, that just added to my big score of this film because they took their time and earned things the right way, and it was just really good. So then I gotta say too, I love when they're on the boat when they're traveling towards London. Was it London? Yep. And then they're talking about so many different awkward things on there.
Well, he makes the bed for her on the boat, and then she lays down. Yeah, and he's like, I don't know. This movie kind of goes into some things like that too, where it's like. is it okay for two people to like lay in bed next to each other? She says, "Oh, you're not going to sleep with me," but he's obviously thinking
Sleep with women.
something else. So like that line between what's I think it's totally fine. It doesn't have to be sexual. Just lay in the bed if there's room.
And just the little conversation they're having where...
And he's so awkward, too.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's like, wouldn't you be if Gal Gadot was sitting next to you with that conversation?
She is beautiful,
She's
so, yeah.
gorgeous. And those little conversations that they're having where they're talking about the 12 volume sex book or whatever, whatever that book is called. He's like, did you bring that book? He's like,
you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I love that dialogue.
Ultimately,
very good
for
dialogue.
pleasure, men are useless.
I like the face he makes after that.
He's
so.
like, well, come on, I'm above average. He says that like not five, but
yeah,
he definitely mentions more than once that he's above average.
Yeah, and then we get into London, and like you said, you feel that
it's
dark.
Hideous.
Yeah, you feel that dark and gritty universe that Zack Snyder has created. Like it does feel a little more there connected to the DCEU. And again, I love how Diana is first experiencing this for the first time. That fish out of water, seeing things for the first time. She's only used to Themyscira, so of course that would seem very hideous to her. And I like how
it's not for everyone.
Yeah, I like that line too. That was great. But yeah, no, that was a good moment right there. I liked how she was reacting, seeing things for the first time. Gal Gadot just really gave off a good presence throughout her eyes and her face, just on what she's really conveying and thinking throughout the film. And that's where I thought she really scored high on top of the great dialogue and physicality of the action that she was delivering. So.
And it was funny seeing her like trying on all those different clothes, and she's like, "How would you fight in this?"
That was great. That was funny.
Like in that dress, she's like lifting it up. So, and the secretary too was kind of funny, just like trying to hold the sword and the shield. And
yeah, no, that woman was definitely. But again, that's why another big thing about this film, like supporting characters who are not like a big part of the film.
They're so good.
They're still very good, and they leave a lasting impact on you. So that's why so many great characters in this movie. But yeah, I loved how too she mentioned that she tried on like 226 dresses or something. She was being,
she was obviously being sarcastic.
Yeah, but I love the final one that they end on. Obviously, it reminds you a lot of Clark Kent with the hat, the glasses, and we'll get into that when we get to the alleyway. But then we get to meet Sir Patrick Morgan. Me personally, I knew he was Ares right when they showed him in the first scene. I really had a feeling that Ludendorff. It was too obvious, and I just had a feeling.
Yeah, the German villain was like they made it too obvious. Like this guy's Ares,
especially when she said it out loud too. It was even more obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had a feeling there's something a little bit deeper and grittier than this guy's letting on, And also when he helped to fund them, and then said, "Don't pursue." It's like. Yeah, he's for sure Ares.
Yeah.
So, but again, I know a lot of people felt the whole, and we'll go into it when we talk about the end sequence. I know they felt it was really rushed, but watching it a second time, like I said, you're looking out for it more. You're noticing little details and little hints. I just thought they did a good job of making the character of Ares, hover over the film without being physically present all the time.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I still felt his presence around because we're always talking about Ares. Everything is about Ares, getting to Ares.
Yeah, because she's trying to find him. That's her whole mission and coming to, the outside world.
Would it have been cool to see him fleshed out a little more? Yeah, but this is Wonder Woman's origin story, so I didn't mind, Ares taking a little bit of a backseat, and with the reveal we got and the dialogue that he was going on, his motivation, I thought it just worked, especially the second time. It really worked a lot more. The first time I thought it was a little bit rushed, but the second time I thought it was a lot better, and I really enjoyed the character a lot more, but I get a lot of people's gripes and criticisms with
I definitely like the character, like even, before it was revealed where he's kind of talking to them, and he says some comedic things too, but I really like the scene where they do reveal it, and it's like him inside the building, and she's walking around outside, and then he's gone, but then he's outside. Like, I don't know, I just thought that whole conversation was really cool, how they did that, and like that's before even the action even starts. And you see the sword. I noticed how when she killed the German guy, like the sword was left in the.
Ludendorff.
She just left it.
Yeah.
But then she like goes to grab it. And she's like, "Wait, I left it." So she just goes and grabs it real quick, and then he obviously starts becoming his full self with the battle and the swords and stuff, which was cool. I mean, that battle it was kind of cool. It wasn't like the coolest battle I've ever seen, but like it was cool for an end fight.
I thought everything that was going on made sense. She saw Steve sacrificing himself, and that made her go like beast mode. And then she understood that love is greater than all things, and that's how she's gonna defeat Ares. So I love how she absorbs his lightning and just fires it back into him. So it's not she didn't kill him herself. She absorbed his energy from Zeus and fired it back at him. So, and also too, that was a great foreshadowing earlier on in that whole picture thing, or that whole Hippolyta when she's explained to Diana the whole war. We see Zeus firing the electric
Yeah.
lightning bolt right at Ares. That's literally what Wonder Woman does to him right at the end of the film. So
Yep.
that's foreshadowing there for this is what's going to happen to Ares later in the film. So I like those little subtle hints right there. And I kind of was thinking in the beginning of the film when I saw it, I was like, I wonder if that's how it's going to end. And then when it happened, I was like, perfect.
There it is.
But I like seeing those little hints of foreshadowing,
Yeah.
little subtle hints of that. It's good.
And also too, when like she calls out the general for like saying soldiers are there to die pretty much, and just kind of calling him out, being like, how do you believe in these ideals when you're supposed to be the leader of this army?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, talking about the human emotion and how humans think, and how just like this whole movie kind of gives off that vibe of like maybe it's not Ares corrupting everyone, maybe everyone's just already that kind of corrupt inside a little bit. Ares just gave them those weapons to use pretty much. So it's kind of like a commentary on that a little bit. So
no, you're right.
I like
Absolutely.
how they went to,
yeah,
went into that.
Definitely. And what I love about that scene, you kind of just touched upon a little bit, it humanizes Diana. It shows what's right and what's wrong. She's saying, how can you be a general? Generals fight out there with their soldiers. They don't sit behind desks. You should be ashamed of yourself. Like, great dialogue.
Yeah.
It really, like, humanizes.
And good delivery, too.
Oh, absolutely. It just gets you more invested in this character. Like, yes, I can get behind this character. She is truly a leader, a warrior, and she's puts her mouth where her money is. So, and then that whole thing where they go downstairs and he ties her in the lasso, and she's like, you were lying? He's like, I'm a spy. That's what I do. Great dialogue too there again, but again, just their delivery, their chemistry together, they are just so good together that all these scenes where there's just little exposition or they're talking about what's going on with the book, these scenes could have been very boring, but they're not. They're fun, they're interesting, they're emotionally engaging, even just on things where she's calling the general the coward. I got much more behind her and more invested in her just from little things like that, just little touches. So.
And yeah, with that scene in No Man's Land where they're basically going towards their mission, and Steve Trevor's like, no, we got to keep going. This is not our mission, but she's like, no, we got to fight. And she walks out into No Man's Land and just starts taking all those bullets and
So
just
cool.
Man, the beach action scene was really cool, but this one was like even probably better, I would say. Mm-hmm. So this is where they kind of get to see Wonder Woman truly in action. She busts out the lasso a few times. Man, that lasso I think is the coolest part of her action scenes.
Yeah, no, that scene, No Man's Land, the best way to describe it is epic.
It's pretty epic.
It was amazing. My whole theater, the first time I saw it, erupted when she got out her costume and had the tiara on.
Yep.
It was eruption. I was one of those erupting too, because I've been waiting forever to see Wonder Woman in action doing what she did there. And just again, seeing the look on the team's face and the other guys when she's actually doing this, it gets you more emotionally engaged in what's going on in the story, because you're seeing the reactions of these characters to seeing a god basically stand up for what she believes in and help them and fight. So I just thought it was a really not only epic and amazing action sequences, but from a human engaging side, emotional, pulling you in depth. I just thought it did a great job there too, just from the reactions we were seeing from the soldiers, seeing what she's fighting for, because she's not just there to, hey, I'm just gonna fight off a bunch of soldiers. No, a little girl and a mom were telling her that they've been desolated. Their town has been taken over by the Germans, and they've been they've lost a few other kids. So she's had enough. So it just gets you, again, more emotionally engaged and more behind this character, and the action that follows with it, because there's substance now to, she's fighting for the people, she's trying to get them their town back. It adds more weight to the action that you're watching and makes you just get that much more behind the character. Like, this is awesome. And Rupert Gregson-Williams' score playing behind it while she's fighting, it just gets you that much more into it too. Like, a good score just really adds more to that scene. So, and the direction by Patty Jenkins, the fight choreography, everything just is so perfect with that No Man's Land. And when she jumps into the clock tower off the ship,
explodes.
Amazing. By the way, we got another foreshadowing that earlier in the film. Robin Wright Penn, I think they did the same thing. She jumps up and does the 3 arrows.
Well, yeah, Steve Trevor was like, "Yo, we're gonna do this."
Yeah, we're gonna do it, and then they jump off the shield. And she jumps in the building. So kind of cool. A good foreshadowing there too. Again, nice job by Patty Jenkins. A lot of these foreshadowing moments, but her ramming into the building, and also with the tank, how she just rams it and throws it,
chucks it aside.
I was almost jumping out of my seats. I didn't want to because people could yell at me, but I was ready to. I was that engaged in this. It was amazing, and I love the action sequence and that. And again, the emotional touches behind the action that go on with that scene, as well as the music.
And too, like, when she destroys the clock tower and everyone's cheering, and then we get that whole scene afterwards at nighttime when they're kind of all just like kind of having fun and partying a little bit, and she's like, "Is this what people do when there's no wars to fight?" And they're just like kind of dancing, and
Great
Steve
scene.
Trevor is teaching her to dance, and it gives it a little more weight to it because she literally just saved this town, and this town was totally like war-ridden the whole time, and now they can finally rest
Celebrate.
until they get owned later. But at least for this night, they get to have a little fun, and Steve Trevor can take advantage of the moment and teach her to
I
dance,
will
so to
say,
speak.
I'm just thinking that it's interesting that if Ares really is dead, or maybe he's not, who knows?
Yeah.
How did other wars happen? How did the people get in that destructive mind? Because are there like evil people? I mean,
Well, that's a theme that they've talked about. Like
He's not the one-
It says
he's
Ares
just-
corrupted mankind,
Right.
but then it's like I didn't. But then he says it
I'm
in the
just
fight.
giving them the tools
Yeah,
necessary.
I gave them the tools.
Okay, yeah, no,
giving
that-
ideas here and there.
That
but,
makes
but
sense.
men
You're
are
right.
always
They
gonna
always
fight
have
each
a
other.
little bit of a dark heart. You're right. That
But
makes
that's why I
sense.
think was one of the better points of this whole movie. Is like
That's a
it's
good
kind of commenting on the fact that no, it's not just some god that you can kill and then we're all gonna be great people. But
Although
no.
it did appear that way when it happens, like, and then they're all just.
Well, yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the German kids or whatever that were kind of but still, I think it was still a little bit of social commentary about just wars in general and how mankind just
yeah.
can't seem to stop fighting them.
No,
So
I agree with you. It was a good commentary there, and just adding out more onto that dancing that you talk. It just again, it's getting you more behind this relationship, and again, their interaction. I would compare this relationship to one of my favorites in comic books. Like some of my other favorites are like Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter. Also in Deadpool, I love those two together. So I mean, this is right up there. I was really invested in this relationship. And then when he goes into takes her to her room and he's like debating whether to go out by himself.
she gives him that look.
Yeah,
and she's like,
but it's earned. It's well earned
Yeah.
there. And then they kiss. It's like they could have kissed 9 scenes ago. But
Yeah.
I mean, if they wanted to rush it, but I thought they took their time and they made it so that moment was even more heightened when it happened.
Yeah.
Because I
and earned is the right word. It's like you shouldn't just come out of nowhere. You gotta like
Well, yeah, of
feel
course,
that
but
build up.
You know how it is in a lot of movies. Hey, we're both good looking. Let's make out. You know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I thought they took their time and really, like you said, they earned it. So yeah. We then get a really cool sequence. It's the gala scene where Steve has to become a German soldier or a lieutenant, whatever he is. I gotta say, his accent was not pretty good right there. When
Yeah.
he's talking to Dr. Poison, I like that interaction between them where he's trying to, kind of seduce her in a way where like she's attracted to him and she'll whatever you want, I'll give you. And then Diana comes into his view in like that blue dress she was
Yeah.
wearing. Like I don't
With the
blame.
sword in the back.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I don't blame Steve Trevor for having his
distracted.
gaze distracted. You got a woman with a glass face and you got Gal Gadot, Diana. So you don't blame the guy there. But I thought it really worked in the scene how he's getting so close to getting it, and then she kind of interrupts it right there, and then she's got the dance with Ludendorff, which was a little haunting and chilling, just the
Yeah.
dialogue that was going on between them. And then she's ready to kill Ludendorff, and then Steve Trevor stops her, which we see then costs some lives, and because that
I mean,
creates
they
the
still
conflict.
they still could have fired the gun even if she killed him. It's
Yeah,
like, not
exactly.
like it would have
Well,
stopped
the
it.
reason he stopped her there is they need to find out where the main base is, because if they
Yeah.
kill him and they don't ever find out it. Cool, we stopped Ludendorff. We need to find out where the main gas is, because they could get rid. They don't need Ludendorff to execute their plan.
Yeah.
So that was his way of thinking. It was, look, I don't want to let this town be sacrificed, but we have to find the main source of weapons. So there was a conflict between both the characters there, and it was, again, it made sense when both of them were when Diana was mad at him and how bad he felt. Like he didn't want to let that happen. So I love that moment in the film too. So it's a good conflict between them.
And then we see they do fire that gun, and she goes back into the town. She's like, "No, they fired at the town," and she's like, she runs straight into the fog, which was cool to see that she can withstand that. But you see the hurt and the pain on her face when she realized that everyone in that town they just saved is basically dead. So, and that kind of awoke in something. And each step of this, each part of this movie gives her like more and more, obviously, like true life experience. Because in the beginning we've talked about she's very naive and she's never really seen the destruction that mankind is capable of, and she's just kind of, you see that pain on her face, and it's really like chilling to see, kind of, because that's obviously things like this have happened in the world. So she's just kind of experiencing it for the first time.
Then we see her riding off on the horse, and she gets rid of that blue dress, and then she jumps into action, and she takes out a few soldiers, and then she starts fighting Ludendorff. Right when she stabbed Ludendorff, I was thinking, all right, where's the Ares reveal going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
But I did like the dialogue between them, and then he goes all super strength when he's fighting her. It was a cool little fight, even though it was kind of fast and pretty quick. But it was a cool little fight sequence. sequence between them, and then she, uses the God Killer, even though she's the God Killer, to stab him. And then we get, of course, the Ares reveal. And we kind of already talked about that whole action sequence. I loved it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was emotional, again, because of what happened with Steve Trevor, where he sacrificed himself. And then you see the pain in Diana's face and how she goes beast mode and uses that love to defeat Ares. So I love that, like seeing because at that point she was basically done and lost, and seeing what that inspired her and made her realize. Yeah, that was a great reaction.
I was gonna say, James Earl Jones needs to take some notes from her.
Dude, it's so funny. I was kind of thinking that, like, where George Lucas
it's pretty obvious.
You couldn't get worse than that one, right? Because Tim Allen definitely nailed it in Toy Story 2.
That one was hilarious, though. That one was hilarious.
It was, but Toy Story 2,
not in the right moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. But no, the one Gal Gadot's no really worked. Like I felt that hurt and that pain in her voice when she said that, in her eyes. So again, just really conveying, like you said, those emotions, and you understood, like, this is how she's able to defeat Ares. Like, this is what inspired her. This is how she believes in... Because she had a bad perception of humans after that, when she thought she had defeated Ares, and then she sees that the humans are still fighting, and she thinks...
Well, she even says to Steve Trevor, he's like, it's not just the Germans, you're corrupted too. Like, when she's kind of like... It's all too much information for her at once, and she's like... she's trying to process all this death going on. She's like, everyone's corrupted. So this is kind of a nice moment where she can have some faith in mankind and know that just kind of... Not everyone is that way.
Yeah, I agree. And then I love the ending of this film, too, how we feel the emotional weight again from the characters, the whole group, from Samir, Charlie, Chief, and Diana. I like how they're all together and they're looking at all the pictures, and they look at the first picture of Steve Trevor. I was about to say Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
There
are similarities between this movie.
Maybe one day we'll do a video where we go over the similarities, but it didn't bother me because I kind of said this to Jason, and not that Jason was complaining. No, we weren't. We loved both movies. But kind of like, sometimes when you take things from other films, I kind of looked at it as like a basketball player taking someone else's moves, kind of like Kobe Bryant taking Michael Jordan's moves. As long as you're making 40 points a game and you execute it properly, it works for me.
But every movie copies other movies.
Yeah, of course. Everything does. I mean,
original.
Like Avatar, that's Pocahontas meets Dances with Wolves meets the Fern Gully with James Cameron's blue CGI. That's what it is.
It's Dances with Smurfs. That's what it is.
Okay, there you go. Exactly.
But
yeah, and again, these things that reminded us of Captain America vs. Avenger, these are good. That we love that movie. The only time I don't like it when other films copy other films is when it's not properly executed and it's truly, I'm just copying to copy them, not for story purposes, just because I can't think and I'm lazy. I never got the feeling one time in any of the times I was thinking of Captain America and the few times I thought about it in this film. So not once did that bother me, and I like some of those things that make me remember, because I love Captain America: The First Avenger. I think, by the way, even though it has nothing to do with this video, I think Captain America is one of the greatest trilogies ever, by the way.
It's pretty good. Like, mostly because 2 and 3, but 1's amazing too.
Yeah,
so
1's very underrated. I know a lot of people
don't.
I know some people don't like that movie at all, but I think 1's very underrated.
It would have been really bad if they had called this movie Wonder Woman, the first Justice League member.
And so next is going to be Wonder Woman, the Winter Soldier, and Wonder Woman Civil War.
That would have been bad.
I'm just kidding. But I did hear that Patty Jenkins is back for Wonder Woman 2, and I did hear the story is probably going to be taking place in contemporary and present time. So
I would hope so.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that happens.
We got the backstory. Now let's just be in present time.
I agree with you. Absolutely. So we'll see the progression of the character after Justice League, of course. But just finishing off the end of this spoiler talk, the end of the film, we see that Diana is writing an email, which her and Bruce Wayne love to email each other. So we're seeing, as we saw in Batman v Superman, so we're seeing that Diana is just saying thank you for finding the picture for me. And then we hear...
thank you for bringing him back to me.
Thank you for bringing him back to me. And I think that's, too, a little bit of a foreshadowing.
She's got to watch.
Well, yeah, not only that, too, but I think it's a little foreshadowing of possibly she's going to fall in love with Bruce, too. I
can see that.
I definitely can see that. Going on a limb there, even though it happened in the cartoons. But... that's what I think possibly could happen. We'll see. Obviously, maybe Catwoman in one of the later films, but I think I'd like to see him and Diana at least in 1 or 2 films, be a little bit emotionally, have some engagement there. So
at least tease it a little bit, like
definitely. If you're not going to do it,
yeah.
But like I said, I love this movie. I think it's the best DC film since The Dark Knight back in July of 2008. It was emotionally engaging. It was fun. It was epic. I was really behind Gal Gadot, and the other actors really got me invested. Even the smaller bit actors, from Robin Wright Penn to the secretary to even I know a lot of people didn't like Ares. I personally didn't. I totally feel the gripes. I get where everyone's coming from who had a problem. It didn't bother me, but I understand if it bothered some people, and that's why I scored this film so big. There wasn't one scene in this film where I was bored or I was having a lot of problems with what I was seeing from a plot perspective, from continuity to other things that normally nitpick and bother me in films. I wasn't being bothered, and twice I've seen this. The second time, I loved it even more, and I loved it the first time. So that's why I had such a high 9.5 score for this film.
Yeah, the movie's definitely a lot of fun. I will say, like, the first, not quite half, but the first third or so of the movie's a little slow. Not boring, it's just a little slow. But, you know, once that second action scene starts, like, the movie just takes off from there. So definitely a lot of entertainment and some good action, good fighting, good characters. Definitely a good movie. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for the spoiler talk. Let us know what you guys thought about it in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.